In this episode, I will explain the importance of understanding the science of soul to guide you towards the awareness that we live in a conscious universe in which everyone and everything coexists, including you, and is bound by consciousness in the universal mind. So the question is, how does consciousness impact reality? And consciousness really is all about observation. Observation is what collapses the awareness in the moment of now. So consciousness is what allows you to have your experience of reality. That means that as soon as you start to expand your consciousness, you start to expand your notion of what is even possible in reality. That means that when you expand your mindset, you start to introduce all these new possibilities, which are collapsed in your experience and allow you to see life in a totally different light.
When we introduce this concept of unity consciousness into reality, we can start to perceive in terms of oneness. And oneness is fundamental to the experience of feeling love, feeling compassion, and connection to all things in existence.
When you can't connect to the feeling of oneness, what you're experiencing is essentially feeling connected to everything else all around you. That means that whenever something happens in your life, a new experience, you meet a new person, or anything really arises, you start to really see the significance in that moment. When nothing becomes random because you no longer see the universe as random, everything becomes meaningful and significant and beautiful in nature. You can even start to see at a certain point that it's as if your higher self, or that higher dimensional aspect of you that is your soul, is helping you to create this experience of reality in the now moment.
That means that when you can start to fall in love with yourself as the observer of reality, you start to have a more beautiful experience.
Because what starts to happen is you start to achieve a state of deep inner alignment. And in a state of inner alignment, everything flows naturally. You experience more creativity, more flow, more feelings of deep beauty and love that just come from a deep place within you. And the other thing that is related to this concept is the heart's consciousness. So what's little known is that not only do you have consciousness arising from the brain, where scientists are often looking for how awareness comes from the neuronal connections within your actual physical brain, consciousness can also arise from the heart. And the field of consciousness within your heart is immense. Your heart's consciousness is formed because you also have 40,000 neurons that live inside of your actual heart. So neurons are the cells that are also in the brain. But brain cells create a certain limited experience of reality. If you're constantly trusting only your brain, you're going to be feeling more a hard approach to reality. You're going to be more logical. You're going to be more thinking that your brain is the sole creator of your experience.
But there is another way to see all things that surround us.
The people who are more invested in their heart's consciousness are aware that there is another way to see reality. There's a way that is more surrendered, more in flow, and more creative in nature. Where people that are achieving a state of heart-mind coherence are achieving a state of real integration. And it's only in the state of heart-mind coherence that you can really start to feel like you're in flow with the universe at large. And that also amplifies your heart's field. So when your heart's field expands due to your own awareness, you start to feel like reality can be in flow when you actually are within yourself.
When you expand your perception to see yourself as a child or being of the vast universe, you tap into a profound understanding of your limitless potential. By embracing this perspective, you realize that your experiences are not confined or restricted. Instead, they have the capacity to be expansive and infinite.
And so this is where you really find the thread between your consciousness, your individual mind and individual awareness, and universal consciousness at large, where you can start to see that the link between the two is found in you achieving inner unity. How can you stop in your experience seeing yourself as separate and see that you are connected to all these other variables in your life, and maybe even that they're an expression of you? I want you to ask yourself, how often do you experience a state of unity consciousness as this state of connection to all things around you? Where do you reach that point of pure love? Because unity consciousness is really about the state of love as an expression of integration.
In this state of oneness, you will transcend the boundaries of your individual self and experience a profound shift in perception. You will come to understand that you are not a separate entity, but an integral part of the natural world.
We stop seeing the beauty in the world around us because we no longer remember what it means to really feel united with our entire experience. But as soon as we can feel that unity consciousness is actually the place to begin in our journey, it's the place that allows us to understand the deeper questions and the answers to them as well, where you can start to become the guru in your own life and start to recall what it means to really be your higher self.
The version of you that is your soul in the physical realm. The part of you that is always curious, always wondering, always feeling love and deep appreciation and gratitude for all of life.
It's when you can come into a deep state of alignment within yourself that you can really start to recall what it means to be your own soul. And that's the part of you that is always feeling enmeshed with the world around you and realizing that it is the creator of experience.
So what's the importance of experiencing unity consciousness?
You can start to see unity consciousness as the state of integrating all these different perspectives of the world around you. When you're in a state of unity consciousness, you're actively evolving, you're actively growing, which is part of the purpose of being here in this reality. If we can be open-minded to our own experience of expanding consciousness, then we can constantly be on the search for new inclusions. One very spiritually integrating practice is simply connecting with the earth, being grounded, taking your shoes off, putting your hands on a tree, and just allowing yourself to really respect and honor the beautiful, sacred, natural elements around you. In this case, along this trip, I had the chance of really contacting all of the Earth's elements, like these beautiful, massive, old trees, which are many hundreds of years old, which have this amazing energy to them. And just being in the presence of that field allows you to merge fields with it. So that tree has its own wisdom to it, its own story. And so just being there allowed me to contact the roots of the land and really start to feel the story just penetrating my own field via energy. And if we don't really contact the natural elements, the energy can never speak to us, and we only feel secluded to our own egoic identity. So in this process, I really felt connected to the Ecuadorian land and the spirit that continues to live on in the plants, in the soil, and in the trees that are all around. If we're all energy and we have the ability to observe reality and to also create by magnetizing different probabilities within the matrix, then consider how you are actually a fractal of source.
So the question is, what is a fractal?
Since a fractal is a self-similar aspect, if we're all energy at our core, then we're a fractal of source consciousness. We're in part of that one consciousness that is allowing us to have this individual experience. Which means that by changing our perspective, we are in essence becoming a different version of ourselves.
We are in essence of God, embodied in flesh and skin. We're one faculty of awareness through which the universe is having this experience of being.
And so observing that source consciousness is something that lives within us gives us a great deal of power. It gives us the ability to synthesize new ideas and to think about how maybe when we choose to accumulate new awareness, we are just expanding our notion that source actually lives within us. What is then that higher source consciousness truth that we can come to embody?
Embodying this truth involves aligning oneself with a greater sense of purpose, wisdom, and interconnectedness. It may involve cultivating qualities such as compassion, love, empathy, and mindfulness, and recognizing the inherent unity and interconnectedness of all beings.
This brings us to the interesting point about our ability to create reality. Many people in the spiritual community and in the world of trying to understand reality at large have a desire to manifest. Many people want to obtain something in order to feel better about their life as a whole. Maybe you want to manifest a new car, a new job, a better relationship, or anything specifically that will allow you to feel more happy with and within yourself. If you can come to see that you have an aspect of source or the creator living within you, that gives you the power to choose what you want to have enter your reality. If you want to change your reality, you need to start to accept that you've already created everything that is in your reality. If you want to change your reality, you need to start to accept that you've already created everything that is in your reality.
There's a part of your consciousness that manifested this entire experience that you call your life, and that your soul chose aspects of the experience that maybe you didn't even consciously choose.
Maybe there's parts of your life that you chose before you came into this matrix condition to experience what you can become and how you can evolve into a more conscious being that is more connected to Source at the end of the day. Once you start to become responsible for the things that currently are a manifested part of your reality, you can start to achieve transformation. You can start to transmute the energy within you by understanding yourself more deeply as a vessel of consciousness. And think about, what is the energy that lives within you? Are you more charged to see life in a particular light? Are you maybe biased mentally towards assuming a negative perspective or to seeing only one side of the coin? Whereas unity consciousness and Source perceives in terms of all things in a balanced way.
So if you start to see life in a balanced way, like the universe does, if you're not the yin or the yang, but the combination of the two facets, how can you start to see more possibility both within yourself and the world as a whole?
How can you start to see more lovingly and more coherently within yourself to allow yourself to manifest more of the same loving outcomes? You need to become the source of all things in your life. If you want something to change in your life, you have to start to see that you are the source of all those things that will manifest. So to change life means to really change yourself, which also means then you can't see life as a separate component to you. You are intrinsically connected to all things in existence. The energetic reality we experience is a mirror of our own consciousness. So consider how changing the way that you feel your consciousness and experience yourself more as a source of creation rather than just the product of creation will allow you to change reality drastically. You may start to feel like reality unfolds magically and beautifully and miraculously at times as soon as you decide to see yourself and reality as a miracle unfolding in connection to your own consciousness. So unity consciousness is really the state of feeling that you are as one with your entire experience of being. And transformation comes from this result of you becoming accepting of that nature of existence.